Since that game, Tampa Bay has not lost. In fact, these teams are first and second in the NFL in points per game and yards per game, and in the top 10 in points and yards allowed. And since that day, Tom Brady has been hit just 13 times in those 7 games. So let me bring it back out to the crew here. We all remember that day, and I remember coming in here Monday, Dan Orlovsky, and talking about it at length. Why have the Buccaneers not lost since then?
They went back in time. They remembered that Tom Brady's the best pre-snap quarterback in the history of football. And they realized that as much information as they could give him was going to benefit their football team. That's why they've gone to using so much pre-snap motion. This is actually the best team in football, in the NFL, when it comes to using motion and the success of a play. And Brady uses that motion to figure out what the matchup that he wants is, to gain some matchup that is going to be more advantageous for his receivers, to change the formation. They've gone to protecting him. That's also a big part of it, too, is the play action pass. But when they use that motion, all they're doing is allowing Tom to predict rather than guess. Oh, you're in this coverage, and I know that defender out there doesn't have any responsibility. He can blitz, so I want my offensive line to be a part of my protection. You guys go to him. That's part of why he hasn't been hit. And so it was really smart by Byron Leftwich and Bruce Arians to go, okay, we're going to take a step back, and we're going to let the best quarterback ever when it comes to owning the line of scrimmage, own the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it's important as a reminder. They had as late a bye as you can have. They had their bye week right after that game, as we mentioned. So that extends the amount of self-scouting they can do, and they have remade the offense a little bit. So, Marcus, if you're preparing for this game as Kansas City's defense, how much do you take from that one? How different is this challenge going to be from what it was on November 29th?
Well, one, you don't expect your receiver to have, as a defense, you don't expect your receiver to have 200 yards in the first half. That's number one. The second thing is, when you look at what the Kansas City Chiefs has done defensively, when you think about what they've been able to do, and then you think about the Bucs, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. The Bucs have literally taken over in the playoffs. We talk about scoring on defense so much, but we miss the ability to put your team in scoring position. And we know that the plays that's been made, especially against Green Bay, not only the turnovers, but the red area, the red zone, being able to keep teams out of the end zone. The bottom line is this, like the last time we saw the Chiefs lose a game, the Raiders put up 40 points. And the Raiders defense pressured Patrick Mahomes 28 times with a 4-man rush. With a 4-man rush. They pressured him 28 times. That's going to have to show up for this Tampa Bay defense in order for them to get it done. And they can get it done. That is the only example this year that we have of the Kansas City Chiefs losing a football game. An offense playing well and a defense being able to not sacrifice coverage in order to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. And that was the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, that's right. It's the only game they've lost. Again, Kansas City won the Super Bowl last year, and they're 17-1 this year, including the playoffs. And Dan Graziano, as we look back on that matchup when these teams played each other in November, I know your memory of it is painful and personal.
The guy I was playing in fantasy that week had Tyreek Hill. I'm in Foxborough covering some terrible Patriots game, and I'm looking up at the screen like, that's got to be a replay, right? Like, there's no way that he just threw it to Tyreek Hill again, and he went the entire length of the field. So you would hope for Tampa Bay's sake that the scars from that game have helped them get to a point where they feel like they can fix whatever went wrong. Because, I mean, look, Tyreek Hill's on the film. It's not as if they went into that game not realizing he was on the Chiefs. But maybe the fact that he burned them that badly, that often, has helped them ahead of this game to at least devise some kind of plan to slow it down. Maybe only 100 yards in the first quarter this time instead of 2, and then you're ahead of the game.
I will say this. Graziano got called out in the meeting this morning because he started a defense against Kansas City that weekend. So it wasn't just Tyreek Hill who beat you, but you started a defense against Kansas City.
Sometimes it's just not your year. I mean, sometimes you get put in bad spots, and it's just not your year. That's what happened.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.